John here, Hot Rods in the Woods. Getting over a cold. Oh boy. So I know it's been a while since I did a video on this girl, and it's probably time. So I'm going to start this one off just real quick with what's going to happen with this front end. So, as I've talked about in the past, this is American Chrysler steel. Now, give you a little idea. It is now sitting less than a foot off the ground, and I'm 6'1", and it's over my head. So this is 6 foot darn near of American steel, American Chrysler steel. The 55 Chevrolet whole front end's about a foot and a half shorter, so obviously it's lighter. Well, here's the problem. If you go way back in my videos and you saw the magic that I did with my spider-based setup for the front end, I put a cantilever, I guess you'd call it, in here, whereas this flips all the way over and ends up sitting on top of this. I did that because I wanted it to clear the front bumper. I did that because the front bumper is the whole personality of this car. The problem with that is, well, number one, I'm older than when I built it. Not a whole bunch, but it all adds up. So it's heavy. I can barely get it open by myself, and it's virtually impossible to get closed because no matter what you do, this side or that side comes up faster than the other, and then you've got to pick it up and flip it, and then it comes back here and it gets jammed in here where the support is here. It just bumps into it, which causes an issue. This is actually an important piece. It is structural for one, but it also keeps the wind from blowing right in the door. So I've got to leave that. So I can taper it, which I'll just roll this in. As you can see, I just have to heat it up and bend it in or whatever I've got to do. Or I can roll it in so that it'll slide back and forth past that. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove this brace here. That is the upper bumper brace, which is the actual bumper right there. But underneath it is a whole nother bumper. And this bumper right here is the main bumper, I guess. I don't know how they work. And anyway, one's for show and one's for go or whatever. So I'm going to take this upper bracket completely off. Then I'm going to cut the front of the frame. Let me grab a light. Stand by. I'll be back. Alright, that's probably a little better. So I'm going to cut that bracket where it's flat right there, right off of the frame. And it goes all the way across and becomes, I don't know if you can see that, the front cross member. So I have to be careful how I cut it. But if I remove that front bracket, now remember I have a cross member back here that's underneath the engine, so it's not as structural as it seems. But if I do that, then I can put two pieces of box tubing, kind of like a trailer hitch, that will slide in and out and take that whole front bumper and the whole nose, slide it out a foot, and then tilt it all up. So that's the plan. So I've got the box tubing. I've got to cut some slots for stops and weld some nuts in it and all. So I'm going to start laying that out, but I'm hoping that there's enough room that I can get the box tubing inside the frame. I think that'd be pretty slick. Now I bought used from a boat scrapyard guy a set of Merc Cruiser power trim rams. The problem with those is they only move about 8 inches, which is not enough to get it all the way out. But it would be nice if I could hit that button and have them come out. I may be able to find some longer rams. But in the meantime, all of this other, everything that I built for this front end has got to go away. Now it does a bunch of good things too. It also means that my radiator can stand up straight and go back a little farther. I can leave my AC condenser away from it with a separate fan, which will help with cooling. The radiator can come up a little bit more, so I don't need two radiator caps. So it'll spiffy up the front end. The main reason I did it this way was because it was a necessity, and I tried to get it ready for Power Tour. Obviously that didn't happen as I had hoped, but this year will be different. Now another thing I can do too is I have a natural spot right here, right in that hole. It just happens to line up with that hole right here that I can put a pin in. And that will keep it from doing the wiggle wobbles that it does now. Won't take much to drill a hole through the top of the hood. And then I can put 2 pins up here and my 2 pins down there, or some sort of fastener at the bottom, and that'll lock her all together better. So that's the plan at this point. I got a couple other little issues that I need to address. Let me walk around the other side here. We've got a mess, guys. I've still got to get the bus in here, and there's still stuff to move. These are Tesla batteries. No, I'm not building an electric car. They're for some backup power. But I have an issue down here at the timing cover. I attempted to use one of the new Magic 2-piece ones that you can actually change the cam without pulling the oil pan, blah, blah, blah. And guess what? It leaks. So I've got to fix that. Just going back to a regular timing cover with my cam button in it. Just one of those things. So I have that to fix. I also have a real small leak at the AN fittings at the transmission where it go to my pump. But it's probably a good time to go ahead and drain that fluid, fix my leaks, refill it, and be happy. It does work great. I've put probably close to 1,000 miles on the car now. Haven't had any problems with the transmission. It's happy. I mean, when I say it leaks, it leaves a drop a day or so. But when it gets hot and you're driving down the road, I sure don't want to be in Wisconsin and all of a sudden have a problem with my transmission running out of oil, and here I am with a blowed up T56 again. So on with that, we're going to start doing the interior. My wife has agreed to go ahead and redo my door panels, which she did a wonderful job on the first time. But the color isn't exactly what matches the car. I think I'm going to go more with the gray. That way I can go gray and black with the copper, and that should look fine. I've still got to do the headliner. I still have to weld a little material on top of these doors. If you look right here, you could see that the only thing he really screwed up on was right here. It doesn't fit here really well. Now I don't know how he did that, because that's original. But what I think he did was, I think this part here actually is from the rear roof, and it came up to the back door, which is here, and that the front door was lower. So we'll have to figure that out. I'll fill it with metal, and then I can make my weather strip work, because it leaks. Okay, so moving on. I can't do a heck of a lot with this car, and the reason I can is things like this. And if you notice, I mean, I can push my finger into it. And if I go too far with it, what I'm going to end up with is a whole ball of junk. I can't find that molding because, let's face it, they didn't make a whole lot of these to begin with. And I don't have the capability, although I could learn how to make that piece of molding. There's a bunch of guys on the internet that can show me how, and I can watch the interwebs until I go crazy. I can buy more tools, and I could probably make them, but I don't think this car warrants that. I think in order to keep its personality, it needs to be just like it is. Now I will finish fixing the rockers, but I don't believe, other than I'm going to strip the top, I'm going to paint it white, and I may put some lace on it and paint that into it, kind of like they did in the 60s, but I don't know for sure. I still have to fix this door. It occasionally will open from the outside handle. Occasionally it won't. If you notice, this is all free play, and it just isn't quite enough. So I've got to figure out how to make the linkage work. See, that time if you close it all the way, it'll pop open, and the next time it won't. So I don't know. Anyway, there you go for today. I am going to go ahead, and I have to make some different arrangements, so provisions have to change. This car's going up in the air here soon, maybe tomorrow, maybe this afternoon yet, and I'm going to get everything buttoned up underneath it. I'm going to make the seat brackets so we can get some seats in it so it's drivable, and then it is going to move up here in this position. This frame I'm going to stand up in the back, just attach it to my overhead header, stand it straight up so it's out of the way. I'll put the axles all the way to the back, because the Chrysler needs to be in that lift so that I can do the couple little things I need to do underneath it. And in here, there needs to be a 40-foot motorhome sitting. It's coming up in winter. We've had 3-4 days here where it was 19 degrees at night. Before the snow flies or it starts getting any colder than that, I want it in the barn. Keep it out of the rain constantly, because it is rainy season down here. And with the wood stove going, I can keep it reasonably warm in here. Let's say if it's 20 degrees outside, I can keep it at 40. That just means that the heater itself in the bus isn't working as hard. So that's the plan for there. We did kind of set up, and we're still working on it, a temporary kitchen here so that we can do a little cooking outside of the bus. We've got more to come. I'm working on this wall here, getting it insulated up, and we'll continue on with that to build this apartment. So that's just my weekly update. They do have some other things happening. I think this 29 has a transmission leak that's pretty good. I've got to get in there and figure out what it is. I do have a spare turbo 350 on the back of this 4.3 that came out of the 28. I have this 700R4, which is probably going in the 1930. Got some bad news for that car. The owner was driving it the other day. He's been driving it a good bit, just driving around town. Oil crystal clean, 50 pounds of oil pressure. It started knocking. So I've got a feeling that we're going to be breaking into a 409 here pretty quick. I think probably what happened is it spun a rod bearing. If that's the case, it could be some serious issues. We'll have to see. He did shut it off as soon as he could get over to the side of the road. It's still maintaining 50 pounds of oil pressure when we just started it up just to see what it was doing. But it kind of aims to me a rod bearing. So if that's the case, well, you know what's going to happen. We have parts. We have, let's see, we've got a bunch of small block stuff. We have a set of Motown 220 heads. I've got a set of forged rods and pistons. I've got a 350 block there, 40 over, with ARP bolts. And somewhere right around here I have a, I don't know if you can see it, but back there is a brand new steel crankshaft still in the box to make a nice little 383 stroker. I don't know what an extra 10 thousandths adds to the total cubic inches. We got 385, 387, 388, I don't know, whatever. I'm not going to go look it up. But that may be an option to put in that car. The transmission remains in the same place. Motor mounts are the same. Thank you, GM, for planning ahead. So we can always do that. That car would be fine with a little stroker motor in it. I can throw easy 450 horsepower to it. I do have, if I want to go there, I have another set of 3 deuces. I have a tunnel ram, which I have plenty of carburetors for. That's the 3 deuce manifold there for the 409, which we were planning on doing. The carbs and everything are on their way. So I don't know what's happening there. We will figure it out. So bye for now. Please remember to like and subscribe. I'm up to 456 now, I think, or 466. Anyway, I'd like to see that 500 number. It'd be really nice. And those of you that have joined, please take a look at the older videos. You'll see that I'm not just gabbing about garbage like I am right now. I'm in warm weather and I've got some time. I'm going to start back on this old girl, and I've got a bunch of neat stuff happening. We still have to build this entire 28. We've still got to finish that 29, and we'll be doing upholstery. We're going to do everything from a frame all the way up to entire suspension on this 28 Model A pickup. I'm going with triangulated ladder bar suspension in the rear. Going with a monoleaf in the front with just a few changes. The rear's going to have coilovers. I'll show everybody how to do that my way. And we'll continue on all the way to a complete car. We are probably going to go ahead and swap that to a small block Chevrolet. We do have AC and air conditioning going in. I did a little video about making up a framework for a seat, which I still haven't made into anything yet, but there's basics of that. There's some good information in those older ones. And if you do, please put it on autoplay, because the more videos that play, the more my algorithm goes up, so more people can see it and maybe realize that I'm not as much of an idiot as I think I am. Anyway, take care. Hope your holiday was great. Hope you have a nice week. And remember to like and subscribe. Bye for now.